everyone! I hope you guys are all having a great week, and I hope you've been enjoying all the recipes that have been coming your way. I know it's a lot, but hopefully you guys are enjoying having some fun new ideas this time of year. So today I wanted to show you guys a couple of fun recipes, and they're quick, they're easy, and they're healthy, and they're delicious. So we're going to start out with, we actually have at our house, our kids for Halloween took some pumpkins and decorated them. And now that Halloween is over, what do we do with these cute little pie pumpkins that they decorated? Well, I took the first one and we washed it and peeled it, and I took all the chunks and I put them with some water into the deluxe cooking blender and used that to make some pumpkin puree. So we're going to use that. I've got some in the fridge, put some in the freezer. We're going to use that for fresh pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving for our family. We're going to use some, I'm going to make a pumpkin cream cheese bundt cake tomorrow with fresh pumpkin. So then of course, what do you do with your pumpkin seeds? So we took all the seeds out, and special request from my 6-year-old, we are going to roast up our seeds. So this is actually the basket that goes inside the deluxe air fryer, and we're going to make the seeds in the air fryer, which is so much better than doing them in the oven, because this basket, we're going to put them in and close it up, and it's going to rotate the whole time while it's cooking. And it has this bar in the middle inside, right here. You guys see that one right here? And this bar, as it's spinning, helps kind of move everything around and make sure everything gets evenly toasted and nothing burns. So we're going to take these pumpkin seeds. I just rinsed them off after pureeing up the pumpkin, and they've just been sitting in the strainer. They're not perfectly dry, but I've just kind of left them out overnight to kind of dry off a bit. So we're going to put the seeds in here, and we're just going to put a little bit of olive oil and some seasoning on there. That's it. So you could do something as simple as salt and pepper. You could do, if you wanted to make them spicy, you could put some sort of a spicier thing on there. I'm going to do just garlic today, but yeah, you could do Southwest if you wanted to make them kind of Southwest flavored, or like ranch seasoning for ranch pumpkin seeds. That would be good too. So all sorts of options. I'm just scooping these out carefully so I don't get the last little bits of pumpkin pulp that are in here. And then these colanders, these mesh colanders, are dishwasher safe. So all that pumpkin that's in there, I'm gonna rinse it out and I'm just gonna throw it in the dishwasher, and that'll get it nice and clean, which is great. So, okay, so we've got our seeds in here, and I'm just going to drizzle on top, and I'm just gonna shake it up right in the little cage here, because I can. Because I can. Don't dirty another dish. So we're just gonna put a little bit. Whoop, that was a lot of it. That's okay. That's what happens. All right, a little bit of olive oil and some garlic seasoning. This is roasted garlic, Pence's, good stuff. I like it that it's nice and fine. All right, so then we're just gonna kind of mix this up a little bit. And then we'll see how it's doing. See if I need to add anything more. I think a little more seasoning would be good in there. But they seem to all have a little bit of oil on them, so that's good. All right, so now I'm gonna put this in the air fryer. And we're gonna set this, we're gonna do about 10 minutes and then we'll check on them. I think last time we made these, my husband made them last time, and he said he thought they took about 12 to 14 minutes, so I'm gonna set it for 10 and then we can check them and go from there. So we're just gonna put the basket in. And there's a little, oops, I'm dropping it, that's not helpful. There's little notches that it sits in. Now I got it stuck because I dropped it. There we go. So we get in the notches, and then you slide it over to the left. And you put it in and you kind of slide it to the left, and that locks it in place. So now I'm just going to turn this to air fry, and we're going to set it for 10 minutes and press start. And then there's a rotate button here. So when I press that button, you get this little circle here, says it's rotating, and if we look inside, we can turn on the lights, And sure enough, our basket is spinning. So that's gonna just kind of work in the background there and do its thing. And while that's going, we are gonna make some roasted red pepper and walnut dip. This is a delicious recipe. It's super healthy because you've got walnuts, nuts are good for you. We've got some roasted red pepper, and of course red peppers are real good for you. And then there's a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of garlic, some lemon, a little bit of honey for sweetness, but it's a very healthy snack. So we're gonna also chop up some veggies. We've got some peppers that we can dip in it, or you can use pita chips, whatever you would like. So I'm going to give this a little rotate here, so that I can bring in our friend, the deluxe cooking blender. Here it is. Love this piece. My kids actually requested a little while ago. We made some eggs Benedict this weekend, and I had a little bit of leftover hollandaise sauce. So I've been enjoying a little bit of eggs Benedict every now and then this week. And my kids actually asked if I could make more hollandaise so they could have more eggs Benedict. And I said sure, because with this thing, it's super easy to make. You just drop the ingredients in here and you press the sauce button and you walk away, and it does everything else for you. And the best part is that it does such a great job making that sauce that it doesn't even separate in the fridge. So I put the leftovers in the fridge and it didn't even separate, which was nice. So, all right. So for the roasted red pepper and walnut dip, first we need to get the oil off my hands so I can open a jar. Good thing I have a jar opener. All right, hold on. Let's grab that. All right, there we go. All right, so you need about a 16-ounce jar. This is a little bit more, but we're just gonna throw them all in because they're delicious. So we're gonna drain these. So I'm gonna use the measuring colander. This is one of those tools that I didn't think my kitchen needed, and then it was actually my director, Claire, told me I had to have this thing. So I got it at my very first party when I started. And I'm not sure I could live without it anymore. It's one of those things. Didn't know I needed it until I had it. All right, so, oh, now you can't see me. I'm just at my sink. I'm just draining out my red peppers and just pouring the jar right into the colander. There we go. So I just poured the jar in there over the sink. Now these ones, sometimes you get the red peppers that are in olive oil. In that case, I would save the oil because there is some oil that goes into this recipe. This one was just in like a water mix, but there's some olive oil that goes in this recipe. So if they are canned in some olive oil, you can just use that oil so you don't dump all of it, and you get some more of that red pepper flavor. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. See how they've got the fire roastedness going on there? All right, so we're just gonna dump those in the blender, right? So that's exciting. Oh my gosh, they smell so good already. So these are just like whole peppers. I'll show you. That is literally a whole pepper. It's just gutted and roasted, and the whole thing just goes right in. So, all right, so we've got our red peppers, and then we need about 1.5 cups of walnuts. So shelled walnuts, got those right here. So 1.5 cups. I might do a little extra since we have a little extra red pepper. So I'm gonna make it 2 cups. All right, so we'll dump those in like that. All right, and then we need 2 garlic cloves. I've got those. Now, we don't have to chop up our garlic, we just have to peel it. So we're gonna use the garlic peeler. Again, one of those handy little tools. Yes, you can take your garlic and you can smash it on a cutting board to the side of a knife and you can peel it that way. But, like so many Pampered Chef products, this has multiple uses. And we are getting to the time of year where this gets used for more than just garlic. So I don't know if you guys have ever done any holiday baking, and you're baking with caramels and you have to take those little plastics off the caramels. Such a pain, so annoying, right? Well, you can put those caramels in here and roll them, and it takes the paper or the plastic right off of them. So yeah, so rolling this around, it just loosens up that paper on the outside of your garlic. You can do it in your hands, you can do it on the cutting board, and then the paper just falls right off, just like that. And so this can go right in our blender. So we'll do the same with the other one. Oop, nope, it fell out, there it is. Okay, so we've got 2 cloves of garlic. And if you don't know the difference, a clove is one of the little chunks that comes off. The whole thing is called the head. Sometimes people get that backwards, and then when it calls for 2 cloves of garlic, they put 2 heads of garlic in. I wouldn't complain, I love garlic. Some people might not like that much so. All right, so then we need some olive oil. This is where, if you have your red peppers that are canned in the oil, you can use that. We need 2 tablespoons. So there's 1 and 2. And where did I put the, here we go. So I should put the top back on that oil before I spill it. All right, then we need some lemon juice. So I've got a fresh lemon here. Before I squeeze it, we need about a tablespoon. Oh, you know what? We need a little extra oil, right? Because we're adding a little extra. So I'm gonna put another tablespoon in. Making a little extra today. So I really need like 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. All right, so we're gonna use our little petite Measure-all cup. So you guys might be familiar with the Measure-all cups that you can use for your salads, right? You push it down to however much you need. Great for peanut butter, mayo, brown sugar, molasses, honey. We're gonna use it for honey in a minute. But a lot of people forget that when it's all pushed down, the other side is for liquids. So if I need 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, I can use this side and I can measure. So there's 1.5 tablespoons. So I can measure as I am squeezing my lemon with the citrus press. All right, so our lemon here, I'm just going to cut in half. Do you guys know how to pick out a good lemon? This is always one of those fun little tricks that's handy to know. A lot of people look at the color, or they, feel on it and press on it, and obviously you want it to look okay, right? You don't want it to be brown or gross. You don't want it to be mushy. You don't want it to be too hard either. But the biggest thing that you do want is you want it to be heavy, because your citrus fruit, if they're heavy, that means they have a lot of liquid inside, because that liquid has weight to it. So if you pick up a lemon or a lime or an orange and it's really lightweight, it's going to be very dry and probably not very good. But if you pick it up and it's heavy, it's going to have a lot of juice to it, and that's what you want. So I'm that weird person at the grocery store that's like lifting up all the lemons and limes to find the right ones that have the most weight to them. So, all right, turn this so I can see. 1.5 tablespoons. So I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze right into there. Pretty good guess there. I was going to say usually half of a lemon is about a tablespoon, maybe a little more, and this is a little bit larger lemon, so those last couple drips. So we have 1.5 tablespoons of our lemon juice. We're going to go ahead and put that in there. And then this is where we need our tablespoon of honey. So the other side, we just push this down to 1 tablespoon. And we take our honey, and we need 1.5 tablespoons because we're adding more. So then you can just take your honey and just squeeze and put it right in the top there. Go to the tippy top, love honey. Okay. And then you just hold it over and you just push and it plunges it all out. And then you can just take a scraper and scrape off the end. All right. So that is just one dish to go in the dishwasher. Now I could have definitely used this for measuring out the olive oil as well, instead of getting out a measuring spoon. So if you want to save on dishes, you can do that as well. All right, we're gonna get out some paprika. Ooh, we're gonna check on those in a minute. All right, so paprika, we need a teaspoon. So I've got the adjustable measuring spoon now. We're going to use it a couple of times here. All right. All right, so a teaspoon plus another half. All right, and then we're gonna add some salt and some red pepper flakes. So red pepper flakes calls for a fourth of a teaspoon, so I'm gonna do like a heaping fourth of a teaspoon. If you like spicier things, you could definitely add even more here if you wanted. Or you could add some of your favorite hot sauce. You can do all sorts of things once you have your base recipe here. All right, add some salt. I need about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, and then that's it. That's all we have in here. So we're gonna just get this started. So we're gonna turn on our blender and we're gonna use the grind setting. So the grind setting is also my BFF for peanut butter. I have kids, so they enjoy peanut butter, although I think I like it more than they do. But we make homemade peanut butter. You just get a jar of peanuts and you just dump them in and you hit the grind button. And 2 minutes and 20 seconds later, you have fresh, delicious peanut butter. And it's very, very good. We love it. And it's just peanuts. I like to get the lightly salted ones, just a little bit of salt, but we don't add any sugar. So there's no sugar in our peanut butter, except for when I like to use some honey roasted peanuts. Those are really good. Then you get a little bit of sweetness in there. Honey roasted peanut butter is amazing. All right, so we've got 8 different settings on here. I'm gonna go to the grind setting and press start. And it's gonna start doing its magic here. Let me show you what it looks like inside. You see how smooth it is? Smooth and creamy. All right. Like any good snack. Smooth and creamy. Okay. So we're gonna get some veggies ready. And like I said, I've got some bell peppers I'm going to chop up to go with this. So we're going to start by cutting off the top of the bell pepper, even with about the base of the green stem right there, because then you can just pop out the stem, and we can cut this baby in half, and we can use it. Now those seeds, oh, we got like a baby pepper growing in there too. The seeds we're going to take out with the scoop loop, handy dandy little tool. I'll get to you, don't worry, blender. And you just use this, and you can just scrape out all of the seeds. That way you don't have to reach your hands in there, manhandle the inside of your pepper. All right, and then we're just gonna chop this in half. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed before, and it's doing this again, it's beeping. So the air fryer beeps halfway through the cooking cycle. So when we have it going, we've got the basket in there and it's rotating, we don't have to worry about that. I just kind of ignore the beeps. But if you're using the trays, if you have chicken in there, or you've got bread or sandwiches or bagels or vegetables, whatever you might have in your air fryer, when it beeps halfway through, that's your indication. That's your reminder that you can open it up and you can flip everything over, or you can swap trays top to bottom, bottom to top, depending on what you're making and what you need to do. Honestly, toast, I just kind of leave it. Some people flip it halfway through. I just leave it. But a lot of people ask, how do you do toast in the air fryer? So we use the air fry setting, and I just put a time on there, whatever the time would be that I normally would have used on my toaster. So I do 4 minutes, and I think it's perfect. I also use it to defrost my English muffins. Mine stay in the freezer, and so I use that to defrost. So let me tell you about the settings. So we have the air fry, then there's bake, and there's roast. So those are just different temperatures. The air fry is at 400. Bake and roast. Bake is 350, roast is 375. Pretty sure off the top of my head. Then we have a reheat button, which is fantastic for things like pizza. So pizza the next day, like pizza's great, and then the next day the crust is kind of soggy, but if you make it in the air fryer, like reheat it in the air fryer, it's a lot crispier. So you can do that. You can just hit the reheat setting here. Now, this is actually a couple appliances in one. So the other two, one we have dehydrate, so you can use this as a dehydrator. We're going to be using it come the holiday season to make cookies, and we decorate our cookies and then we put them in the dehydrator when you do the royal icing. And then there's the rotisserie. It's a rotisserie as well. So it comes with a spit, so you can put your pork loin or your chicken or your game hens or a head of cauliflower on there. We're actually going to do a head of cauliflower in the air fryer tonight as a side dish with our dinner. So I'm just going to put it right on the spit, put some seasoning on there, and just hit the rotisserie button, and it'll constantly spin, and it'll cook it up in there. So that's all done. Okay, so we'll take those out in a moment. So our pepper, back to the pepper. So we cut that in half, and then we use our quick slice. And this is going to give us awesome little strips. So all we do is we put the pepper down. I'm gonna do it this way, I think. And you take the top piece with the serrated blades, rock back and forth, and boom. See these nice little strips we have? They're like perfect strips for dipping. So I'm gonna set those aside and do another one. Do the other side here. Quick slice is also great for mushrooms, hard-boiled eggs, strawberries, cucumbers, zucchini, any of your little bit softer foods. You don't want to do potatoes or onions in here. It's not quite strong enough for those. But yeah, so here we go. So we've got all of our pepper. Wasn't that a lot quicker than using a knife and slicing it all up? So if you're making like a veggie tray and you want to have your pepper slices, this is the quick and easy way to do the pepper slices for your veggie tray. And of course, you can do the same with cucumber. You can make little rounds or half moons. Okay, so we've got that. Now, we need to get some of this dip out so that we can try it. So here's our bowl. Here's our dip. Now you will notice that when you make peanut butter, when you make some of these dips with the nuts in there, that when the motor has to work a little bit harder, you do get a little bit of warmth. Now this is a deluxe cooking blender, but for this setting, it was not cooking. So we actually have on here, I said there's 8 different settings, and there's some cold ones over here and hot ones over here. And the hot ones are the ones that use heat when they're cooking. So some of the settings we have smoothie setting. That one gets a lot of use. The kids love smoothies. So you just dump everything in and press the smoothie button. Ta-da! And it's like a minute, and you have fresh smoothies. All right, you ready to see how smooth this is? Super smooth and creamy. Look at this. All right, the next setting that we have on there is the alternate milk setting. So you can make your own cashew milk, coconut milk, almond milk, all sorts of things. we actually have there's a book that comes with your blender, which is actually where this recipe that I'm making right now comes from. So there's a book in there, and it even has a recipe of how to make your own horchata. Okay, so that's like a Mexican drink. It's with rice and cinnamon, so it's like a rice milk. It's got some cinnamon and vanilla and some sweetened condensed milk in there to sweeten it up a bit. Anyway, very good. And if you add rum, you have homemade rum chata. That's the base for rum chata. So you can even be super creative and do things like that. So that is the ultimate milk. Then the grind setting, that's what we use today to make this dip. And that's what I use for my peanut butter. And then we have soup. Oh, the soup is so good. So you can make like fresh tomato soup is our favorite. There's a tomato basil soup recipe that is just so good. And you just dump in some fresh tomatoes and a can of tomatoes and some water or broth and some garlic, I think, basil, and you add a little bit more basil at the end, and it's just, it's thick, it's rich, it's delicious. So we've got that. And then there's other recipes you can do, like broccoli soup, potato soup, butternut squash soup. And the best part about it is that all those vegetables, you just put in there raw. You just dump in the raw sweet potato or the raw butternut squash, and any of those vegetables just go in raw. You just chunk them up and throw them in, and then this does the rest. So it'll heat it up, it'll cook it, it'll periodically stir it, it'll puree it. It brings it up to boiling. It really does, and you can see it boiling. And actually the blender comes with a little cup you can put on the top, a little boil over cup. So if you're making some of those soups and things that are going to get to a point where they boil, just to make sure stuff doesn't bubble out the top of the blender, it can bubble up into the cup. So there's that. The heated puree is the one that I use to make that pumpkin puree I mentioned. It's a great setting if you or someone you know wants to make their own baby food, right? It's a nice setting for that. And then there's a sauce button. We use that. That's the one I use for the hollandaise sauce. You can make homemade hot chocolate. We make all sorts of things in there. What was the other thing? Oh, applesauce. Make applesauce as well. And then, special, unique, patent pending, we have a jam button. So that means you can put in your fruit, your gelatin, or your pectinide, your sugar, everything. You just dump it in, and instead of having to stand at the stovetop, stirring it constantly, and then trying to blend it up, this does it all for you. And you have fresh jam, fresh homemade jam in, I think it's like a half hour, and it's done, and you don't have to stand there and watch it. So it's a pretty impressive little piece. And look at this amazing dip that it made. Do you see how smooth and creamy that is? So when you get your blender, make sure you get the long spatula that goes with it, because that's perfect for scraping down the sides.
Thumbs up.
All right, and you can get all of that out, cleaned it all out. All right, let's check on those pumpkin seeds. So I didn't get to tell you about this before because I had the blender running, but it comes with this handy dandy little tool to get that basket out, so I don't have to reach in there where it's hot with my hands to get it. So this just goes underneath the edges there, and I just pick it up and I pull it out. So here we have, all of these look really good. Okay, let's get a hot pad here. Get a hot pad, move my blender. All right, so we're gonna open these up and put these in a bowl so you can see them as well. I'm actually really impressed that I haven't had any little family members come in and trying to steal any snacks yet. All right, I also need a little mitt. All right, so these little, the little mini oven mitts that my kids say look like sharks. So watch out for them. Oh. That's what my kids would do if they were standing right here. But, okay, so these little guys are super helpful for your air fryer. And I'm gonna make sure I don't burn myself. So, I don't know if you guys just saw this trick for opening this basket here. You because you've got the little notch. Let me hold this up here for you.
I want you to walk home with her, okay?
All right, this little notch, opens up the door. And it's very tempting to take your fingers and want to grab it, but it's hot metal. So here's my little trick for you, is you take your little grabber and you put the end inside that little loop and you just kind of bend it back and you can use that to prop it open. So then you're not getting your fingers in there. Okay, so then we're just gonna dump these right in. And I grab another mitt here so I can do this. All right, we can dump these in. All right, I'm just gonna use this to get those last couple little stubborn guys out. Now, the best part about this is that it's dishwasher safe. So I'm just gonna give it a rinse and then I'm just gonna open it up and put it in the top rack of my dishwasher and let my dishwasher do the washing instead of me reaching in and scrubbing. So that's very exciting. Now, when it comes to washing the blender, because it's a cooking blender, it has those special heating elements and it's got special pieces in the bottom, it's got electronics here. So this cannot go in the dishwasher, but Pampered Chef loves to make everything easy to use and easy to clean. So if you are counting, you may have noticed I only told you about 7 settings. Number 8 is actually the heated wash. So for this, all you need to do is you put in about 3 cups of water, a tiny drop of dish soap, you put the lid on and you hit the heated wash button. It's going to heat up to 140, is it? Doing this off the top of my head, 140 degrees, which is enough to kill germs and bacteria and sanitize it. And it's gonna like quickly agitate. It's not gonna bubble up and over, but it's definitely gonna get foamy. And a great time to clean your blender is right before you do your hand wash dishes, because you can take that hot soapy water and pour it right in with the rest of your dishes. So the other thing is that you may have noticed when I put the lid on, it made a little beep. And when I held this up, you may have seen that it said lid on there. It will not turn on and start and do anything if this black lid is not on. Now you did see that I can take the clear piece out so we can look inside, we can add extra food or ingredients and things in there, extra liquid if you need. You can still do that. But if this lid is not locked on, then it won't start. And if you unlock it while you're cooking, it'll stop. So that means you don't have explosions in your kitchen. So those are a couple of my favorite tools that I wanted to share with you guys today. A couple quick fun snacks. We've got those pumpkin seeds with some garlic and some olive oil on there. And this was 14 minutes in the air fryer. So those are delicious. And then we have the roasted red pepper and walnut dip. Quick, easy, super healthy. Great dip for veggies, for crackers, for pita. Great to spread on sandwiches. When you want like that creaminess of like what you would normally have your mayo or mustard, but you've got something healthier to put on there. You could even take some of this and you could thin it out a little bit with a little more olive oil and you could use it as a dressing on a salad. So I hope you guys enjoyed these couple of recipes today, and I hope you've been enjoying everything all week. Please let me know if you guys have any questions and if there's anything I can do to help you as you get your orders ready. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you soon.